All right, we're getting right into it here. We're back on Winging It. Welcome back. We'll have a great discussion on Barbie, Oppenheimer. If Barbenheimer lived up to the hype, the age of movies still going on. And then stay tuned to an exclusive interview with TV movie content creator Nate Messer. But first, it's extremely topical. I think we had a great discussion. It's worthy of a further great discussion. Dave Portnoy buys back Barstool 100%. He's been through the churning group. That was 10 years ago when that first kind of injected money, and he wasn't the sole owner anymore like Milton Tuff, right? They go from that to Penn. They're all in on gambling, and now they're back to the pirate ship, so to speak, old Barstool. Jack, any thoughts on the news of the week?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I don't know. I think you and I kind of are seeing it differently. Like, I don't know if you still think the same, but I think that uh, he just, because what I read was that the basically like for them to get this deal done, they had to drop Barstool, but since they're in a contract, like they can't just drop them. I could have that wrong. So then Dave's like, hey, like that's fine, but like sell it to me back or just give it to me. I could be way wrong on that, but
I think I think you got a point. There is a lot to be said about contractual law, especially in 2023. Like when you enter these, I mean, even just in the construction I did, like when people are signing deals for millions of dollars,
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely stipulations. So um, that's a fair point. I don't know, Corby, you want to follow that up?
Well, I just thought it's interesting because it's like, he pays, it reads as if he paid nothing to buy it back, which doesn't make any sense because we're talking about contracts. So he sold 100% of Barstool to Penn. That closed, I think, in January to where, and it was all Barstool Sportsbook. Hey, gamble with us. Hey, the personalities. Hey, you love rigs. Throw this 3-person golfer parlay plus 300 and lose all your money. Like that's the whole thing. It's like, hey, get this customer base, which is rabid, which is loyal, to sign up and spend their money. But it's like, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. That's the reason this ended, right? Because I would guess that people would thought this is premature. Like this was, a lot of things have happened too because they strike this deal. COVID happens right after they go public, and then the price tanks, goes back up, and then like everyone else, kind of just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth during this recession, not recession. But why would even Dave in the emergency press conference says, I've bought back Barstool and it's reading like for zero? Why would the terminology even be bought? Why couldn't it have been reacquired? Why wouldn't he have been the first to have said that? And like he also said, hey, win-win for Penn, win-win for us. That's definitely true because Barstool gets to go back to being old school Barstool. They'll succeed still and doing their own thing. Penn, like you said, like we talked about, they went from, okay, we've established a sports book, we've got a customer base, we've got everyone's emails, even if they don't want it. Now we've got ESPN. And how many more emails are coming in out of that?
Bought matters a lot rather than like what's the other alternative? Gifting, like on tax documents, right? So like having to buy, and that's I was just gonna add the whole thing. It's funny because if he bought it, let's just say for a penny, right? Like
Right.
had to technically buy it. That's going to be a big tax issue because it's like, well, you bought it for this, so does that mean that its value is here and then it's a public? Like, there's an issue looming there, and I feel like anything's possible today where you could technically you could you could write into a contract, I think, that we will purchase or sorry, we'll sell this to you, Dave Portnoy, for like later determined amount, TBD amount. I don't know. What's up, Jack? You got some deals?
uh, yeah, within the last hour, according to
Ooh,
securities filing, the purchase price was $1.
Get the
And
fuck out of here. Was it Joe Pomp again?
No, it's not. It's like I searched. If you search Dave Portnoy, $1. Like it's on Bloomberg too.
So the reason I'm in such disbelief of that is because it's like from just a standoff leverage standpoint, they own 100% of the company. They could have just sold the furniture, made money back. They could have just said, hey, write it off. They made that back in stock price in the after hours from just news off that deal with ESPN. Why would they sell it? Why would they sell it back to Dave unless it was, a good faith measure for $1? I just don't understand why they would do that out of the goodness of their heart. Does Dave have something on them? What's going on there?
I think it was because he agreed to not get into the. I don't know. I just
the non-compete.
We're not getting into the gambling world.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think a non-compete goes both ways? That there was something in the contract that like it's like if they're with Barstool, they can't go to ESPN. So Dave had him locked. That would be my thought.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I'm not
super interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Also, until who knows what the original purchase contracts said to we're not even hey, if something goes awry in the first 3 years, did Dave have the right to buy it back for $1? That could have just been a sentence in the 500-page document that his lawyer said, hey, right? We don't know, but making sense of it is definitely difficult.
Maybe it is a win-win-win for everyone, right? But my thing is just from just looking at it, Barstool they're a newspaper. They're hey, Barstool Gold. Hey, give us all, throw all your money. We're now we're a gambling company. We're doing gambling. That's what we were in our roots. Okay, wait, 3 years later, no, we're not a gambling company. We're back to old Barstool. 10 years.
Yeah.
Operationally, what's going on from here? And where's the money coming from? I know they have brand deals and whatnot, but I just thought there's got to be. It's not going to be. I don't think it's just smooth sailing. This doesn't just happen, and it's hey, we're actually great because of this. I feel like there's got to be some reason this happened, and they're pivoting, and I think they'll be able to, steer these waters and do well out of it. But all of a sudden, it's a huge change in the middle of August.
Well, my final little thought on it is I feel like there's got to be something with a stipulation of a non-compete. And even though it seems like they're dumping it, it's from a business standpoint, it's you go to ESPN, that means you're under Disney, who's one of the
it's safer. Yeah.
Biggest players in the world. And I saw a tweet that I thought was kind of interesting is oh, now this Pat McAfee contract makes a lot more sense.
Because he was with FanDuel. And on that note, how about ESPN making money moves again, right? They're woke. No one watches SportsCenter anymore. Well, they this dude, Bob Iger, I think, and Jimmy Pitaro, they have made moves lately. They're getting, you said it, McAfee. First Take is now all of a sudden going to be Stephen A. and, Shannon. They're reportedly getting Coward back, and now they're into the ESPN bet.
Aren't they getting Richard Sherman on First Take too?
He's going with Skip.
Oh, he's going with Skip. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. So he's on FS1. So what does this mean for Mean Girl Pod? Are we still going to see? Are we still good? Is old Barstool back, or are we still going to see the good old Instagram of shit no one wants to see?
I was thinking about that exactly too. The win-win from Penn's perspective of dude, they really now don't have to worry about the PR situations that can come from being creative.
Mm-hmm. And it's they knew what they were getting into. They were getting into that fan base, but they also knew, maybe they were going to have to scramble. And Mincy's trending number 4 yesterday. And it's I think everyone understands Mincy's a good guy who made a mistake, and it's but what? Dave literally bought the company back just so he could hire Mincy to make a point.
What did Mincy do? He accidentally said the N-word while singing a song or something. Is that
exactly
right?
On a live stream? So, while reciting a rap song.
So then,
and then he started selling Brick watches or Brickco watches, and now he's back with Barstool.
That video was pretty funny of him driving down the highway on his way back to Barstool. He's
yeah,
Dave.
He's so I'll ride with you, bro. I'll ride.
There's been some pretty funny videos though of Dave today, like walking around.
Well, so that's my follow-up question is Barstool's back. Barstool's back. It's trending. Okay, that makes news. And even if they didn't win that deal yesterday or whatever happened yesterday, they were in the news and that's a win.
Okay, so
everyone's saying, yeah, the old Barstool's back. Who listened today? Who just said it? Who actually listened today? Like, I wonder if on the numbers that actually made an impact or if it's still kind of where they're at.
I just wanted to add to like, where's the money coming from? Just doing some math, like average cost to sponsor a podcast today per 1,000 episodes is about $25 per minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's just averages I'm seeing online. So if you take Joe Rogan, who has an average of 11 million listeners per episode, that basically means to give a 60-second ad in his episodes is about a 200 to 300K bill. So let's call it 250K. So sponsoring something like Pardon My Take, dude, yeah, that right there provides a lot of money.
Well, they have a great sponsorship and ambassadorship with High Noon, like Dude Wipes. I don't know if they're still with them.
Yeah.
Rollback, like they've got deals in place, but obviously, if that was their core business was gamble with us, gamble with us, gamble with us, and now all of a sudden that's gone. Like that's got to be, like Erica's got to have. We haven't heard from her, the person behind the scenes. I don't think.
She tweeted a writing
pirate ship or whatever.
Yeah, talking about how a little paragraph about how that they're back and how she can't wait to see what the future holds, and then signed it Viva. So I don't know.
It's got to be exciting. It's got to be scary too at the same. Sorry, Alex.
No, just shame on me for not maybe doing my full homework. But what is the outcome of Barstool betting then, or books or whatever?
No, yeah. So that's a great question because so basically Barstool. So somehow he retained everything Barstool Sports, but not Barstool Sportsbook. So okay. Barstool Sportsbook, as we know it, social, data, physical sports books. Rip off the signage, it just becomes ESPN Bet. They're literally just making that transformation, and ESPN's taking over. Win for ESPN because they're getting into that game.
Well, and that brings that just brings me to the point that I don't know if we said it yet when I was doing the math. I know there's a lot of bad blood between the Pardon My Take crew and ESPN now.
And I think that's gone. I think it's water under the bridge from both sides. Think? But yeah, at least from what I've gathered. But Bren, you were saying something?
Okay, because I just didn't. I just thought. Sorry, I keep talking. I just thought that knowing Dave, his little bottles and his vendettas that he has against some people, I could imagine ESPN is up there. And if he caught word that ESPN is basically getting in on their name or betting stuff, he probably was pull it from them as quick as he could. That's very large speculation.
Yeah, he was strangely pretty cordial about, hey, these guys have a great partnership. We separated. We're moving on.
Sure.
I was just going to say, just going back to the point of what happened to Barstool Sportsbook. So, let's say if you had a future place with Barstool, are you now, instead of logging into the Barstool app to see that, you've now got to log into the ESPN app to see that?
Or are you all frozen up until they actually make that transformation? Here's one better. So all the Barstool personalities, they could, hey, tail me on this parlay on the Barstool Sportsbook. We got this boosted app. Are ESPN personalities going to be able to bet? Because Barstool Sportsbook and Penn are not licensed in Connecticut, which is where Bristol, Connecticut ESPN is. Last thing on that, I mentioned ESPN is getting, it's exciting to see what they're going to have this fall. McAfee, First Take, reinvented and, embracing betting. For bettors, you've checked out maybe they've had an ESPN2 show, Bet the Edge. They've had podcasts. Now they're full on betting, which I'm excited for, but it's probably going to be watered down. How about maybe they don't want Colin Cowherd anymore? Did you see his mix up this week? Holy shit, bro.
I was just going to say that. Yeah,
bro. So when I worked for Fox Sports Radio, we were the affiliate in Rapid City. So we did 4 to 6 Mountain, our local time. So then throughout the day, you get the satellite, the national, like, all right, we did Dan Patrick, Colin Cowherd, Gottlieb into us. Like Cowherd's great. Gottlieb is so lazy. Dan Patrick's great, but he's old. You can tell Colin Cowherd, ever since he left ESPN, went to Fox, got big money deal. I think he literally has it written in his contract where he gets head massages every day from a staffer. So he gets everything written for him. And that is just so lazy. The quarterback, it must be August 9th. Quarterbacks who Colin Cowherd thinks isn't going to win a Super Bowl. Just like such an arbitrary fucking graphic, lazy enough to have people like Paxton Lynch in there, people out of the NFL. Manziel might have been on there, and then Dwayne Haskins. And it would have been one thing to just have it on there, but Colin doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's reading the graphic. He just reads Haskins' name and then gets so mad at the graphics truck for making an error. Quarterbacks that can win the Super Bowl, not the guy who passed away, not even a year ago. And you're supposed to be the king sports talker.
Dude, yeah, that's some of those interns need to be fired. That reminds me of I forgot, I think it was this year, last year at one of the NBA finals games, they did a pan over of New York City and someone noticed that the Twin Towers were still in it. It was like
oh my God.
It was like a video
late.
that long ago. I don't know. It's crazy.
So wait, did you say that Colin Cowherd gets everything written for him?
Correct. He has literally he'll walk in, say he comes on from 9 to 12 Central or something. Maybe it's 10 to 1. And he'll probably roll in 30 minutes before air. And he has got a list of, hey, Colin, I think this will be viral today. Let's do Baker Mayfield stats in the A block. He'll tape shit too and replay it for the 12 o'clock hour. It's crazy.
So some opinions aren't his own, but instead the writers.
So it's it's almost like SNL, you know what I'm saying? Or it's like Stephen Colbert. It's like he has a writer. So that's exactly. So that's Colin. It's like, hey, Colin, this is one of your takes. Baker Mayfield wearing a backwards hat. Let's really go in on it today. Here's a line I think I like.
Yeah. JJ Redick kind of talks about that. He dances around how on one podcast I listened that they tell you okay, you might have to take this side of things today.
Right. Yeah. No,
think about when Max Kellerman, that viral clip of him yelling, "I'm taking Iguodala." Come on.
I'll take Iguodala. I don't think anyone told him that. I think Kellerman was literally you know what, guys, I've got to take today. I'm taking Iguodala. Sorry.
I've been feeling that way on College Game Day when they do picks.
Yeah.
Just watching it over the years, sometimes I'm just I don't even care much about the personalities on the show for real. I can't even name one of them, to be honest, but I'm just it feels like they always go in a narrative sort of thing method. I don't know, or there's always got to be a one against the crowd or something. It doesn't always feel genuine that that's their pick, especially on games that they don't care about.
And nowadays the writers are just hey, can someone just hold up Lee Corso until the end of these 2 hours? But
gotta make sure he knows what day it is.
Yeah,
and devil's advocate, we're moving into a direction of AI writing scripts and that sort of stuff. So would you prefer the guy to have writers, or would you prefer him to be utilizing new tech? I don't know.
It's a good point. It's hard. We'll discuss this in a second. I'm trying to figure out how AI fits into the sports world. You're already seeing shit where it's hey, AI is picking stocks better than some freaking actual firms. Yeah. But so Colin steps in it. This is also sad. Torey Lanez gets 10 years. Thoughts on this? That was kind of crazy. Came down this week.
When I said it to Darian, my lady, she goes, "Who's Torey Lanez?" And I tried to play some songs, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I never really listened to this guy, so I don't know if I even care."
Dude, I think he's most viral right now for the Aiden Ross freestyle. That's the first thing that comes up for me when I think Torey Lanez. But 10 years, Jesus.
Yeah,
I think that. Sorry to overtalk. I think they do need to kind of set a precedence with, not to be political, but like guns and misuse of guns. Like, come on, let's be
So
safer.
what technically was it? Was it for shooting or like was it
I don't know what the
manslaughter
charge.
or attempted
No,
manslaughter?
he shot
Can't be
Megan
manslaughter.
Stallion in the foot.
Right,
be
but
an
what was the
assault.
technical charge that he's going
Hold
away
on.
for because of that?
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna figure this one out.
Was it like unlawful firing of a firearm or endangerment or something like that? It must have been.
They're definitely making an example of him.
And I feel like we haven't heard much from Megan the Stallion out of this. You know, like she's been.
He did when it was
quiet.
very first happening.
Right. Were they together? Was that what the?
It was rumored.
Sure. That was during the pandemic, 2020, and yeah, he's going away. So I think I saw he's going to serve 85%, which is like Jesus. So that's still freaking.
Yeah, I can't read.
3.5 years.
I haven't found the technical term they use in court, but it's basically misuse, firing in
Yeah.
a public situation. I think he's been charged with multiple things where it's like misuse of a firearm, assault with a firearm, blah 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 blah.
It's also in California. They probably have pretty strict gun laws,
Like
right?
using especially remember where he was, but pretty much every state, if you're found with like alcohol in your system and a firearm, it's a lose battle every day. So
R.I.P. Angus Cloud. Was it?
Yes.
I don't really know. Was it suicide? But rest in peace. Regardless, I just thought it was super cool how the dude never acted, gets found for Euphoria, and he was still like the realest character on Euphoria that everyone kind of fucked with.
He thought he was getting scammed when the casting act lady came up to him on the street. He thought she was fucking with him.
Jeez.
But
wait, so was it self-harm?
It was overdose, but his mom claims that he wasn't trying to kill himself. It was an accident.
But it was a use shortly after the passing of his father, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So like I mean
tough.
It's a hard one to call, but if you wanted my honest opinion, I would say it has something to do with a little bit of like wanting to numb that pain.
Exactly. Yeah. He's dealing with pain regardless.
I wouldn't. I don't know. Obviously, no one knows, but maybe not trying to kill himself, but like Bersick said, just numb the pain. He took it too far.
Exactly.
Well, he really overshadowed Pee Wee Herman died on the same day, but no one talked about that.
How about that? So what's he best known for? Pee Wee Herman.
Your Herman.
His name's Paul Rubens, but being Pee Wee Herman. Yeah.
He was like,
what? Why do I not know this guy?
Okay, so he was on.
He got caught yanking it in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, him.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Pee-wee's Playhouse, Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Oh, he's also in Dylan, you might know him from this. He's in Blow. He's the dude Johnny Depp gets to sell Blow at first. Like when
he's Matilda, or he's in Matilda.
He is Nightmare. Matilda.
Before Christmas. I just remember him. Wasn't it like Won't You Be My Neighbor? Was that his show? No, that was something else.
That was Mr. Rogers.
That was Mr. Rogers. How about this guy, the Japanese man who becomes a dog? He paid what was it, $4,000 for the most realistic dog. The dog is for a realistic dog costume, and he's literally, Jesus Christ, he's walking around on all fours in this costume. Dogs are freaking out going by him.
I think it's like $14,000. Like, why would you do that? Like,
but hey, you know what? If he's able to like maintain a job and a life and a family, whatever his lifestyle is, and this is his free time,
But I don't think he is. That's what I'm wondering. He's able to maintain a $14,000 dog suit, but
chicks do a lot of body augmentation for that price too.
Hey, yeah, to each his own, I guess, is the right answer.
So wait, is it a suit or did he get like shit done to his body?
No, it's like a full, it's a costume, but I didn't tell you, we'll clip this up. We'll throw a video
seen
on
him.
it.
I've seen him. I just didn't know if it was a suit or because it looks so realistic.
Exactly.
I think I think if I saw it in person, I'd be like, "What's wrong with this dog? Like, why?
Yeah.
Right.
It looks kind of like deformed."
It'd
but
be like a street performer. I'd be like, what the hell is going on over here? Well, how about this? People are calling cap on this sun bear in either Japan or China. My mistake if I didn't get that right. Is accused of being a man in a costume. So I don't even know what to tell the difference. Here's the Japanese dog. I mean, even the face looks fake. It's like, all right, come on. It's like, all right, damn, you aced everything else, but what's going on up there?
It looks like a taxidermy or something.
Yeah, exactly. A stuffed animal.
Yeah.
He's like rolling over and shit.
Massive.
I don't know. He's
It's the biggest collie I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was like first ever walk in public.
And then you said the Chinese sun bear. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's this sun bear. Apparently, it looks like someone's literally in a costume, but they're swearing that
it looks like the meme of that dude who's like super top heavy but doesn't have an ass in the jeans, like from the back.
Yeah,
like, look at the one on the fence. Yeah, the fence. Yeah, down on the right.
I'm trying not to click on a video here. Hold on. There you go.
Go to the one
bear.
That.
Go to the one under that. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, dude is fucking rolling back there.
For that, I've seen people post videos that have been like, "This is how sun bears just look." They just
right, yeah,
maybe
that actually is. Well, actually, I don't really know how to tell the difference, but how can we too? Because now the latest thing too in our weekly AI update is there's now AI influencers. Have you seen this? Where it's literally they're making like influencer models who are just AI. They're not actually real people. It's just like chicks in bikinis that look real as day, but they're not. They're AI.
Are they like talking like influencers too?
No,
I've seen some of those. Yeah, but more or not, it's just the photos.
Yeah, the ones I've seen, they literally have partnerships with like actual brands, and they just like it's like them posting a picture. It's like what? Yeah,
no brainer if you're a company. That's what's so scary. Is like holy shit, AI is just seamlessly like no brainer for some of this shit.
This freaks me out just because like it leads me to a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, that's the other thing too, is like I thought I would say broadcasters, right? We can't but then you got the AI Joe Rogan, you got the AI Drake, you got AI influencers. And I think it was in the New York Times where it was some obscure sport where it was like it might have been Olympic highlights, but one of the streaming companies, they were pumping out the highlight packages with AI broadcasters. So like they would just pick a voice and they were just describing and that's what's interesting because people love to hate on Joe Buck. People also love a good announcer, and people are also kind of indifferent. So I don't know if it's like, hey, maybe they're like, hey, I don't care. Give me NFL Sunday football, and I don't care who's calling it. Or maybe we're like, hey, I need at least an announcer and not a computer. But
I guess I don't know if you got a really good AI in front of me, if I could even tell the difference. So
that's also the other thing. All right, Oppenheimer thoughts. I loved Albert Einstein. It was great. It was like, Christopher Nolan had so many goddamn actors in there. He was parading everyone 3 hours in the theater. I was still soured on the whole theater going experience. And I don't know. I love Christopher Nolan. He's my favorite director. Is he losing his touch, or am I just getting too used to excellence? Because it's like, I feel like after Tenet, well, it's been the last three, Dunkirk, Tenet, and now Oppenheimer, I'm kind of like, was that his best? He's got such a deep roster, so maybe I'm just sacrilegious for asking it.
I thought it was definitely better than Tenet
Yeah.
and Dunkirk as well. I don't know if it's in my like top 3 for Christopher Nolan films.
So what would it be?
It's
Interstellar, Inception, and then probably Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight for me.
Dark
Knight 1, Interstellar 2. Honestly, probably like The Prestige for 3.
The Prestige has got to be up there.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you there.
Yeah, but I thought it was a really good movie. It's just a lot to it doesn't give you any time to digest anything while you're watching it. And there's so many different characters. There's so much going on with the plot line. I would just love to be able to watch it. I've said this so many times with subtitles next time, just so I can make sure I'm grasping. You can't even fucking stand Albert Einstein, what he's saying half the time.
Yeah, I know.
Other than when he's like Robert.
Yeah.
Like that.
No, yeah, like exactly. I want to rewatch it now that I know. Like I knew he was doing timelines, but then it was black and white. It wasn't black and white. I didn't realize that was the timeline difference. Like you really have to watch it. And that's kind of the brilliance of Christopher Nolan is you have to watch his movies a couple times, like to fully understand or feel like you fully grasped the movie, so to speak.
Hence why I watched Interstellar. The same thing, Georgia. I watched it so many times with like subtitles because I was so like I was like, oh, they're actually talking real science. Like this is like he gets a lot of facts right, and so it does help you understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
I liked what did you guys think about? Was it worth it? Was the IMAX? Did you feel the nuclear blast? Was it
we didn't every IMAX is sold out still.
Yeah, so like you know what I'm talking about. I don't think it's spoilers, but I liked how they kept you guessing. You know, Josh Peck's like greatest moment in movie history is get the finger over the button. But you're like, holy shit, you're waiting for it. You're like in the seat, you're like, fuck. You're like, is it fucking coming now? And then it'll pause and it sneaks up on you. It was fast paced and then it was slow. Like it was intriguing, but again,
I thought the first hour was very slow. And then after that, it got a lot better.
Laid the ground.
I was like, what the fuck when it didn't explode? But then someone told me when you're that far away, that's how long it would take to actually hear it, which was cool. But also the black and white villain is supposed to be, Christopher Nolan said, all from Robert Downey Jr.'s point of view.
No, exactly. And yeah, I realized that when I, read about it after the movie. I was like, wait a second, okay. I thought the patented Nolan ending. He did well there too. That was I thought it was a good ending.
Yeah. I liked the last end of the movie, like when the wife like pricks the lawyer, like when she's like sitting. That part was good. And then so I thought I liked the ending a lot.
Barbie though, see, that was the other thing too, was would you argue that Oppenheimer was a little bit overhyped? Like still a great movie, but was it just overhyped maybe a little bit?
I think you could definitely make that argument.
Would you say that for Barbie 100%?
Yeah. Okay. And Barbie like more than doubled at the box office than Oppenheimer.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think anything Christopher Nolan puts out is from like now on is just even just because he's had so many great movies, everyone hypes it up.
Automatically going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Scorsese,
the Drake album.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I haven't seen the Oppenheimer, so still got to. But Barbie, let's get into it. Like, saw that recently. I thought it was. My take was I thought the acting crew did a great job, and similar to Jack's take previously, I get it. There's a lot that I'm like, I don't. Basically, there's a lot of like, I don't know. You could just say like political or narrative going, and I get it. But then there was times that they contradicted that message, and I was like, maybe this is literally just a big Barbie movie. Let's make money. Let's throw it out there. Like, I don't know if they. I don't know. So, but at the end of the day, I appreciated the acting, and I thought that was worth the ticket.
So I haven't seen Barbie. I just thought it was funny how, Ben Shapiro felt the need to assert his, like Bill, all these guys have to assert their, masculine opinions of Barbie.
Right.
But Jack, you were super excited about it and you came away underwhelmed.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was excited.
Bro, you were hype, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, yeah, probably. But, I didn't love it. I thought Margot Robbie did awesome. I thought Will Ferrell was funny. And I thought Ryan Gosling did great too. Mm-hmm. So, I thought I think it just was a lot. But I definitely think there was funny parts for sure.
You got to be able to laugh at yourself.
The visuals too.
Yeah.
What did you say, Brent? Sorry.
They did a great job with the visuals as well, I would say.
Would I enjoy it from you guys knowing me? Yay or nay?
I think you would just think it's like decent. At
Probably
best.
similar. Like you'd laugh if there's random ass shit like John Cena pops up for like 30 seconds and like,
That would probably make me die.
yeah.
I love a good John Cena reference.
You'd enjoy it. I think Brennan's point very important here. I think they did a phenomenal job of like separating like the world that you're in at the time and like the scene and the set, all that sort of stuff. Definitely was a good job.
Last thing for me before we get to the tea with Jack D and then the Nate Messer interview. Check out All Things TV and Movies with him. It's a great interview. It's no longer global warming. I think I saw the article. It's now global boiling. I'm going to fucking Hawaii on Friday. See Hawaii in the news today.
How are you? Are you gonna go after that today?
Yo,
what happened?
Yeah. The island's still there. Like Maui was completely on fire. Like people were like jumping like wildfires. People were jumping in the ocean.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Poor, like, prayers out to Hawaii for sure, because I can't imagine having to try to deal with that.
So your trip's all good though, Dylan? Like,
might have to call the hotel.
Trip insurance?
That's future Dylan's problem. We'll check back next week. Well, potentially 2 weeks because I'm hoping to go to Hawaii. All right, let's get to the tea with Jack D.
All right. Let's get to it. The FBI fatally shoots a man in Utah who was threatening Biden. They were serving a warrant at his house, and I guess I don't know, who knows what happened, but he like came at them and they shot and killed him. So,
I haven't done my due diligence on this, but I saw people were like, why didn't they do this to Kathy Griffin? Like, huh?
There's going to be so much stupid political talk from this.
How about, oh my God, the women's national team losing? It was, like that was just like, it was lighter and, fluid, just a gas can soaked with newspapers. And
that's what I'm saying. It's stupid. And we can't even just take away the like facts of like, don't post shit, like practice good gun safety stuff. Like that kind of goes back to that point. Like, if you're political, like if you're going to post a lot about guns and all that shit, don't share your political opinion. Or if you're going to post a lot about your political opinion, don't be dumb. I don't know. It's just a very dumb situation. And now it's going to just fuel to the fire policy.
Yeah, it sucks. All right. Hawaii. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I sometimes catch myself like going down a rabbit hole about politics on TikTok, and then I'm like, my fucking head hurts. I can't.
Right. And all things aside, stupid idiot. Don't you play stupid games? Fuck around, find out.
Yeah, like that kid from Chesterfield that drove the U-Haul into the White House. If anyone's
fucking yeah.
All right, we already talked about Maui on fire. Biggest jackpot ever, 1.58 billion, finally won in Florida. I feel like it's always Florida or California that wins. I don't know.
Is it a bunch of retirees playing?
It's gotta be, or it's just like in bumfuck middle of Florida, like the Everglades or whatever. But lucky them, that's sick. I bought a ticket. I did not win.
That'd be so fertile. I need a ticket.
Sick. So apparently this cage fight with Elon and Zuckerberg is actually happening, but Elon apparently has to get surgery on his neck and back before. So I don't know how that works, but
I think Elon's being a pussy and scared.
You do? He's gonna get his ass whooped.
He curled at 45 though.
Has to get surgery.
Yeah.
I think that lost a lot of steam. Like now I saw it today. It's like, yeah, it's on, it's for charity, and I don't know. I feel like people are on to the next thing.
Well, probably because people don't always agree with like political stuff, but I think it's cool that even Zuckerberg, they want to give it to vets.
Yeah, they're doing it for charity. Yeah.
But Zuckerberg's been hanging out with Israel.
Yeah, they've been training.
They were literally water skiing together. It was all over like Israel's story. And he's like, look at that dude at Zuckerberg. But Yeah, I don't know. He's in great shape, so I think he'd beat the shit out of him.
Any Jake Paul, Nate Diaz thoughts? I mean, I saw like the line. I was like -400. I was like, oh wow, and I saw he just crushed him by decision.
It was underwhelming. Jake
Yeah, right.
Was the start of the first round.
You know what's exciting to me though? Dylan Danis is probably going to drop out, but the Logan Paul Dylan Danis fight, but that's on the undercard of KSI Tommy Fury. Wow. That's interesting to me because KSI is
I saw it was like Jake Paul's next fight should be against that Washington baseball guy who laid a haymaker in that fight the other night.
Oh yeah, Jose Ramirez.
Yeah,
I was like, that would be actually a good celebrity matchup right there.
That was crazy. You got clocked.
Yeah. The Tate brothers have been released
from house arrest, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The Tristan Tate did an interview on Tucker, so I don't know. So
that's right.
Also, the dude did an interview with Tucker who testified against Hunter Biden the other day. That was kind of interesting. If we want to talk about this, his old business partner for like 7 years, talking about how Joe used to FaceTime in at the meetings with the foreign people. Kind of interesting.
Oh, it's definitely interesting. But also just on that, the cocaine was pinned on a family orbit, I think they called it.
Yeah, the Biden family orbit. So yeah. It was someone. Average UPS drivers now to make up to $170K.
Which is, being someone who I see and I work with some of these drivers daily, that you got to take with a grain of salt, but there's something to be said about those long haul guys.
Yeah. I saw that. That was interesting to me. It's like, likewise. I knew people that worked like those hours during college where it was like, 4 a.m. and shit, but yeah, they're getting paid. A lot of work.
I think to some extent we got to pay truck drivers because we all want our stuff in 2 days now. So,
let's get AI to drive it though.
Right. I mean, we'll get there with Elon's.
Dude, more power to them. I could never fucking do that. My mom tried to get me in college on a winter break. They had UPS helpers, and you literally sat in the truck and ran the packages out. Paid like $30 an hour, but I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
Dude, I've seen on TikTok a couple times where it's like my afternoon as a truck driver or whatever, and he'll park on the side and it's like his own nook. He's got Netflix in his fucking car. Every comment's like, "Can I be a truck driver?"
I'll have to send you this dude I follow who's like a little person from Africa. He's a truck driver in America, and he makes like videos singing. He's fire.
It's definitely interesting. Like cats, like my neighbor across the street, he like retired, but he did that for about 20 years, and like just was able to make good money and has a bunch of cash now. So,
yeah. Speaking of money we don't have, credit card debt hits $1 trillion for the first time in America.
Happy to help.
Yeah.
No.
Both. This is kind of interesting. U.S. citizens will now need to pay for a visa to travel to Europe starting in 2024. So it's once you get it, it's active for 3 years, and then you have to like
It's like a freaking toll almost. What the hell?
Yeah.
Which I wonder if there's something to be said. Like, I've never thought about it until I saw that news. I was like, I wonder, like, that's probably fair, like the cost of traveling and whatnot. There's probably some sort of like reasonable reason why you got to do it. So I didn't think it was bad news. I was like, costs a lot especially over there when you're crossing borders so much. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it's a huge deal. It sounds like they're going to approve everyone. So like,
right.
A Peruvian village, the whole village is terrified, saying they're under attack from 7-foot tall armored aliens. So much they called in the Peruvian military.
What?
Do you see that? I think I saw something out of Florida where looked like a UFO, just something like passing by over the skyline, and
Yeah.
Why
Oh,
isn't
how about the UFO hearing? I mean, it's basically everything we already know, but how about that guy confirming, like, hey, we found non-human remains.
Yeah, they called a
Yeah.
body apparently.
Yeah.
do you guys feel like this is happening like just on a cycle at this point?
Well, I think I don't know, like you used to hear about all the time, in your local paper in New Hampshire, alien sighting. Now I think we just all have the technology. People are just fucking opening their eyes and it's, being
Like info
disseminated.
and like the
Yeah, or
video in Vegas
open
where
their
people
camera. Hey, are you fucking
right.
seeing this shit?
And that's what I'm like, is it just the fact that we spread info that quick nowadays? Or
Hard to hide something.
or is it just like a cyclical I don't know, news piece at the but I don't know.
It's
It
intriguing. It's like true crime. People like aliens.
yeah, I mean I like aliens.
Oh yeah.
In one of my political TikTok rabbit holes, it was talking about how it's like timing with the Biden
Yeah, right.
trial and shit
That
like
was
that.
during the train derailment, I remember,
Yeah.
back Super Bowl.
Or
You gotta
like,
take like what?
I was just gonna say, and the whole like Titanic thing. That's
Mhm.
another conspiracy that was during a bunch of news.
Ocean Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean I think I always take those with like what I mean grain of salt of like what's both ends of the spectrum, you know what I mean? And I always try to give both sides a fair thought of like is this timing? Is this perfect timing? Or like what are they trying to keep quiet? Or is it really just same difference? We spread info so much and we're not actually supposed to take in all of the shit that's going on 20 miles away, 30 miles away, 3,000 miles away.
See, that's when my head starts to hurt because I just sit there.
I know, dude. It's
Got it.
ridiculous.
That's when I just go watch. I'm like, I gotta get off this.
Yeah.
Twitter X is auctioning off items from the former Twitter headquarters, so you could potentially buy the Twitter bird if you wanted it.
Dude, I'm
What?
still not used to like the notifications, seeing it on my phone. I'm like, what the? Why is the Xfinity Home app fucking notifying me?
Or
I'm
it
not
says
even on.
on
Sorry.
Twitter.
Just
X.
not being on it. I see like posts like people on Instagram posting people's tweets, and I'm like, what is a spam they're posting? Because like I don't recognize it at all.
Dude, I'm honestly like,
Like, is this
what?
Truth Social?
Well, I'm trying to think like what social media app is my go-to anymore. I feel like more times than not, I'm sitting on the can just like Jesus. I open up Instagram, I'm like, this was a terrible mistake. There's nothing on here. I'm not even, I'm looking at accounts I don't even follow. Twitter, there's ads everywhere. TikTok, I'm laughing for 2 minutes and then I'm not getting shit.
I couldn't agree
dark.
more. I picked up Clans again because of that.
I think I still am Twitter the most.
No, same. Yeah, Twitter would be. TikTok is like, all right, if it's funny, I'll keep going. If nothing's there, all right, what's trending on Twitter? Let's see what's good.
TikTok's funny and there's rabbit holes, but like Twitter's just like there's bullshit with the ads and stuff, but it's still better.
There's just so much. There's just a lot more content.
And Twitter does, like when I read a tweet and it takes me a second to get it, and then it's fucking hilarious. Like, I think that's the best shit in the world. Yeah. And I start laughing alone.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with the like sitting on the can and you see like something on Instagram and it's like follow this person, follow this person, follow this person. I'm like, you're just feeding me crap. Like now I'm just pissed off and I want to delete
I hate when it's like, and it's from like 20 days ago. I'm like, can I get an up-to-date feed?
Right.
Yeah.
Like the good old days.
Yeah. I just tried to I was last minute searching on like the explore page. I searched news and all the shit was coming up from fucking like early July. And I'm like, dude, like,
yeah.
It's like who has money to do shit like this? So Cardi B got that water bottle thrown at her at that concert.
Oh man, yeah.
Gronk spiked the mic back at the person who threw it. Her mic has a bid on eBay for $99,000.
Jesus Christ, that's a lottery ticket.
Did you see that Kai Cenat, that streamer, that his
holy crap?
Yeah, like got arrested for like inciting a riot, basically, and like
Yeah, and like I didn't really. I mean, I get it. He had no, he didn't. He had no handle in the situation. Like he's got a huge audience. Hey, we're giving away free shit. He should have known shit was crazy. But yeah, I felt like he got like, what if he spends 10 years in jail because of that? Like Torey Lanez or some shit.
yeah, and there's so many funny tweets about it. Like this generation's so sad. Like this is
Yeah.
we haven't seen this shit since Michael Jackson, and then he was crowd surfing, and they literally handed him to the police. Like it is.
Yeah, I hated the guy who was like, he was vlogging. He's like, oh, he's like, yo. And it's just like people like throwing shit. He's like, yo, what's this guy doing? He's just like throwing a cone. Like,
Yeah.
all right, sick, bro.
Taco Bell got sued for miss what's the word when you advertise something it's not as it comes.
False advertisement.
Yeah, because of like what the crunch wrap looks like to like what it actually looks like. And
Really?
it's like pretty funny to think about because like definitely never looks like the picture when you get it. No. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. And then for suggestions, I watched the Manziel doc last night.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I mean, I always Johnny Manziel. Like there was definitely a lot more like backstory, and it sucks on the downfall he went on. But then I saw a tweet that made me think like, damn, maybe it was like the Manziel doc was good, but it was like trying to fit information into 70 minutes. And it was like where was interviews with the teammates? It kind of just felt like it like fell off at the end.
Was it by him?
I mean, I love
or like did he sign off on it?
By that yeah, it's about that. It's by that Untold series on Netflix that has all those. Yeah, but like he's for sure like he got cashed out for it. Like he's in it. But like the first half is sick because it goes all the way from high school to like, and it talks about like the autograph shit and like they interview his friend who was like basically his E from Entourage, like running the whole under the table autograph shit. So
dude, him leaving training camp on a flight to Vegas and wearing a fake disguise just to go out is still one of the funniest things ever.
Or that they secretly were tracking iPad hours for watching film and he dead ass logged 0. And in the documentary they just pan to him and he's going like this 0 0.
Yeah, it's like what they did to Jamarcus Russell. They get back in the days of they gave him a CD-ROM. They're like, "Hey man, what'd you see on tape?" He goes, "Yeah, the linebackers were really moving." They handed him a blank CD, and he was like, "Yeah, man, all this shit was happening."
And there was some tweet there like this dude watched literally 0 hours of film and still averaged 300 more yards than Justin Fields, and like
yeah. Well, and that's what. I really want to see it, just because I always think there's very much two sides to like all these stories. So I want to see that side of it.
It is nuts, like because they show the best part about it is how you really get to see like it's like I'll just let you guys watch it, but like how quickly shit changed for him.
Oh yeah,
like
right
after that Alabama game, it was like 0 to 1,000.
Well, and that's what like even I got to see him play like genuinely was A&M versus Mizzou at Mizzou, I think our senior year. And I remember that night because we rushed the field, I believe. If not, no, that was a different game. But anyways, it's just like I got to see him in action, and that was really cool. We shut him down, and then yeah, just watching that career, college football, stuff like that. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. Then I also watched the Steph Curry doc on Apple TV. I enjoyed that one a lot. He's got a cool story just because he was it's called Underrated because he literally had won all Davidson and they like show all high school and everything and it's pretty cool. Then I also watched the Jake Paul doc. Makes you like I mean in my opinion I made me like him a little more but he still is such a D-bag but like
just see him and Logan going at it on Logan's podcast. That
I think that's stage.
You think it was Cap?
I mean, no, well, they do talk about in the doc how they literally like they fucking beef
sibling rivalry, yeah.
Like older brother, they apparently when they first moved to Hollywood and they were like 1 and 2 and like YouTube, like they didn't talk for
and that's they're gonna fight each other at some point. That's gonna sell. That's gonna sell huge.
And they're good.
I'm surprised Jake hasn't made a WWE appearance with him.
Yeah.
Well, he's doing his own lane. I think it would be super cool because he's, in respect to him, he wants to go fight MMA with Nate Diaz, which I think would be interesting.
It is pretty cool, though, that they talk about in the doc that I had no idea that his business partner for the most valuable promotions is the former UFC CFO.
Yeah. Yep. No, I remember that. That's why Dana and him have beef. Dude, Better Derek, that dude has me fucking weak.
Yeah, dude. Like, how is that the dude they picked?
Oh my god, dude, him and Steining might fight on the undercard.
They should, dude. Better Derek's so skinny.
Dude, it's so fun. Keep that same fucking energy.
Yeah. And then last two suggestions. I told you I'd been slacking on the Americans, Dylan, but I'm ripping season 2. It's great.
It's so hyped, dude. It's like I'm trying to explain it. It's like it's a lot like Succession. It's like not that they don't really do anything, like, you know, but each season, you know, in some like Suits falls off, like these shows fall off. It hasn't fallen off yet, and I'm like getting close to the end. Like, it's been consistent.
That's great to hear. And then another show that is just really bingeable. It's like one of those Netflix shows that's an easy watch, but it keeps you entertained. Is The Lincoln Lawyer. I would just watch.
Sure. You've seen that movie, right? I think we've talked about that with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, but I just watched the first season of the show on Netflix, and season 2 just came out, so that's why I watched it. But yeah, it was entertaining for sure. So.
Good stuff. That's the Tea with Jack D. Pleasure to get this guy on. This is Nathan Messer, a great follow on TikTok and Instagram. I encourage you. It's Nathan_Messer1 on Instagram. Lose the 1 on TikTok. All things movie, TV, gaming. Nate, thanks for joining us, and tell me a little bit about your content creation and how you kind of got started into it.
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me. How I got started in it, I don't know if you remember the high school days, but back then I got involved in like trick shot videos on Vine, and that was kind of the introduction to social media in some ways. Went off to school and kind of stopped doing a lot of that. But my brother started picking it up again in college, and he got, you know, pretty popular, got a big following doing impressions and like comedy skits and stuff on both Vine. And then as that kind of integrated towards TikTok and Instagram, moved over to those platforms once Vine was shut down. And COVID came around and he was like, dude, there's nothing to do. Just get on here with me. We'll make some funny videos and kind of get rolling. And so I did. And I got on TikTok and Instagram and started posting some stuff. And then after a little while, I kind of found the market of content that I wanted to post that I was interested in, which was all the movie stuff, reaction videos, you know, just posting my thoughts, doing reviews on movie and TV stuff.
Yeah, I've loved it. And you've gotten to do a ton of cool stuff as well because of that. I've seen you've gone to movie premieres, like exclusive stuff. Has there been other cool stuff that you've really maybe not have thought of when you first hopped on TikTok that has kind of happened? And you're like, whoa, this is, you know, pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I never really expect any of that to happen. I mean, probably like most people, they get on there and just do it for fun. And I still do it just for fun. As soon as it feels like it's a hobby, or as soon as it feels like it's like a job and like something that I'm just forcing, I'm like, all right, I'm shutting down. I'm not posting anything for a couple days and just kind of regroup. I try to make sure that I stay in that space of why I started it in the first place, just for fun and to kind of just share my thoughts on different episodes and movies. But yeah, I never really expected. I've seen other content creators get to that point where they're going to premieres and all that stuff. And I always thought that'd be really cool, but I never really expected any of that. And then really just the last month, you know, few months or so is when those things kind of start trickling in. It hasn't really been anything major, but yeah, a couple premieres, you know, working with Prime Video and MGM and some of those things to do those experiences have been pretty neat. But aside from that, it's really just been, partnering with different companies here and there for different stuff. But
and like you said, I mean, you know, doing this as something you're enjoying, right? This would be something you're kind of doing and enjoying, even if the camera was off. So it's like, hey, why not turn it on? You know,
exactly.
and see where it goes.
It was something I was already doing.
Mhm.
My family has always been big movie TV people. So my brothers and I, we will watch something and then immediately, hey, what'd you think? Let's talk about it. Same reason I started a Star Wars podcast, just because we
Yeah.
follow the content and we're already talking about it. So we're like, hey, let's just press record and do the same thing we're already doing.
Yeah, and check that out on YouTube as well, the Star Wars podcast. So take us behind the scenes. You kind of talked about it. It's like, hey, you want to put out good content, but you don't want to force it. You're enjoying what you're doing. Is it like, hey, I'm trying to do something per day? Okay, maybe I don't have something today. I take a couple days off. Any like specific goals with how you've been doing the last couple months?
Yeah, I try to. That's a great question. I think it's a question that is like constantly changing.
Mhm.
When it comes to some content, obviously there's certain things that I know that I enjoy posting, whether it's reactions or like reviews or just my thoughts on particular episodes or movies. So that stuff is pretty consistent. A little different right now with all the strikes going on. Can't really post a
Right.
ton of that stuff, but um, it is interesting because you want to be different than what other people are posting in the same niche, but also just kind of be yourself. And
Mhm.
so I try to, when I make a reaction, I try to be genuine. I'm not someone who posts like a reaction video that's just like intentionally way over the top or like something that's just like kind of comes off fake. Cause I've seen those videos and although they're engaging, they're entertaining. I'm like, what do you really think about this?
Right, exactly.
And so I try to be, authentic in that way. If it could be a reaction where I'm just, wasn't impressed, but it is what it is. I try to kind of be myself. And then I also just follow the content that I enjoy. So like I'm not going to do that for every single movie that's coming out.
Mhm.
I'm going to do it for the movies I probably will go see. If it's something I'm probably not the most interested in, I probably won't be covering it. Not that there's anything wrong with just covering everything, but when you are covering a lot of things, um, I try to pick my time wisely on what I want to do and what I want to like touch on, which is why naturally a lot of my content ends up revolving around the Star Wars, Marvel, some of the big franchises, because I'm already following all that stuff.
Yeah. Was there a surreal moment where you're like, holy crap, I just got 12 million views on this thing? Or like, did you know when you were kind of like, I love you do a lot of lightsaber videos, which I think are super
Yeah.
cool and super interactive. And do you know going into that where you're like, oh, this might pop off, or is it kind of like a surprise? You're like, damn, this really took off.
Yeah. Sometimes it's both.
Mm.
It's a little bit of both. So one thing, for anybody that's interested in getting into like the social media, TikTok, Instagram, they're all pretty much the same. They've got different algorithms, but they're all, the short form video that have
Mhm.
algorithms to try and push your content out to new people is essentially what is going on right now on every platform.
Yeah.
So in some ways, yeah, like I'll make a video and be like, oh, this felt like a good one, or this felt like a good idea. And it will perform better than average.
Sure.
You know, might get a few million views or whatever. But then there have been videos where I'm like, I shouldn't even post this. This is lame. But I just do it because I already recorded it. And then
Yeah.
that one just does well. It's weird. And vice versa. There's been ones where I was like, dude, this is a solid one. I could see this doing well. And then it's dead,
Name of the game.
So it is. That's exactly what it is. It's the name of the game. And it's in some ways it can be discouraging, but it can also be encouraging, because it kind of relieves the pressure of like, I'm not as worried about like the quality. Like you obviously want to post quality content, but that's not my necessarily like primary focus or like consumed by it. Because I know that I could have a good video that I could look at and be like, this is probably one of my favorite videos I've ever made. And it just didn't perform well. And I know that it's not like a reflection of the video. It's just for whatever reason, the algorithm didn't push it out,
Yeah.
So for anybody that is trying to get into that space, don't be discouraged about like, oh, this episode of the podcast didn't do well, or this particular clip didn't do well, because sometimes it really is just random.
No, exactly. And I think that's a super key point where it's like it's tough not to get caught up in it, but you can't really get caught up in it. You just got to keep doing you, enjoying what you're doing, and yeah, putting out content that you enjoy making. So I guess my last question on that would be like, do you have, as you've been doing this since COVID, back in the Vine days too, like you've been transforming from social platforms and having continued success. Any tips you found along the way, or maybe something you now would tell you back in the pandemic?
Oh yeah. I mean, being that one of the trickier things about social media is being consistent. Cause like there are ways where like I'm not in the mood to like just go spend an hour or 2 hours making this thing. But I do believe that consistency definitely helps on a lot of these platforms. I think it's integrated into a lot of the algorithms of being consistent and posting consistently, because as the platform creators, they want people to stay on their platform. It's just the nature of it. So they might reward you for being consistent. That said, I would say some of the tips would be, again, don't turn it into something that you're posting for necessarily other people. Post it for yourself, because you'll have more enjoyment out of it. And then that comes through on camera. Like whenever you're posting something that you enjoy, those videos are naturally going to probably perform better because people can feel that you're authentic.
Yeah.
And when it's fake, people can kind of tell you're just posting this because everybody else is posting it.
Sure.
So I would say, yeah, I mean, try to be consistent when you can, but also take like healthy breaks because it can consume you. And then post what you like. Don't be discouraged if something doesn't perform. Just post something else.
Love it.
Don't worry so much about the quality of the content. Necessarily doesn't need to be perfect, 4K video. Just make it, throw it on there, and let it ride.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but he's all things movie, TV, gaming. So you got a favorite movie for us, favorite TV show, something that's must check out?
Oh, man. Individual movie is probably more difficult. As far as a franchise, Star Wars has always been my favorite franchise. It's one of the first movies I ever saw as a kid. It's something that I've just bonded over with my family, with even my relatives. Part of the reason why we have the podcast now is because it's one of the first things we ever saw. So naturally, I'm biased towards the franchise. There's a reason why there's a lot of lightsaber content on my page from different companies, because I cover a lot of Star Wars stuff. So I would say as a whole, Star Wars franchise has always been like a big part of just my childhood growing up watching those movies. Anything Christopher Nolan, love it. They're always great.
Yes.
Can't go wrong. TV shows, favorite TV show of all time. I can name a couple, but I think Breaking Bad has to be up there.
Yep.
Breaking Bad's very good, through and through, beginning to end. Game of Thrones has its ups and downs.
Yep.
But it's a good story. Yeah. Probably Breaking Bad is up there.
I'm with you on Nolan. I think I literally love every single one of his movies. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. Have you? Is it as great as
I'm going to see it today. I'm going.
Good luck.
For maybe the first time, I'm going by myself to the IMAX to go see Oppenheimer, because I was like, I'm about to leave to go out of town tomorrow.
Sure.
And I'm like, dude, I got to see this before I leave. I've been avoiding too much stuff on social media around it, so I got to see it.
Yep, I got to keep an eye out then. Nathan_Messer1 on Instagram, Nathan_Messer on TikTok. Success in content creation and on the hardwood, right? You were leading. We knew each other from high school. You were leading our team. I was giving you water.
No, dude, it's more than that.
But then we
had a fun team.
Yeah, that was a great team. Really, just like that team together, we just grew up. I felt like that's a whole different story about varsity athletics and how that could bring a team together. But success into college as well as a D1 athlete. Just touch on kind of your career there before content creation, right?
Yeah, and honestly, that's part of the reason why my content kind of there's a gap from the Vine days to not really posting at all for 5 or 6 years there in college. 5 years, I say. Yeah, I obviously went to the same high school, played basketball, a big part of my life growing up. Pretty much consumed everything I did. For better and for worse, but it obviously led to some cool opportunities, so I'm very thankful for it. But yeah, I after high school I went on to Navy. I played there Division I basketball for 2 years, and then after 2 years I kind of realized it wasn't the career I was looking for. Obviously going to an academy like that, a dream of mine was playing Division I basketball, but there's bigger things outside of sports and athletics. And that's kind of when a lot of that started hitting me. And it wasn't really the career I was looking for. So I ended up transferring locally back to kind of the Missouri area to Truman State University, where I finished my career playing basketball there too. But yeah, my younger brother ended up coming to Truman, so we got to play together. Basketball has been a huge part of my life. My older brother trains professional athletes still for basketball, so I get to hop in and help him out with that a lot. So basketball, even though I'm on social media doing all this stuff, basketball is still a huge part of my life.
Definitely. That's great to hear. Hey, I'm excited to continue following your journey and success. This is Nathan Messer, Nathan_Messer1 on Instagram, Nathan_Messer on TikTok. Hey, man, thanks so much for joining us. Go enjoy Oppenheimer and hope to talk soon.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, thanks again for having me on. I wish you all the success too. Appreciate it.